Our brains are plastic, flexible, moldable. The latest brain research confirms this. This discovery stands in opposition to the former belief that our brains are ceramic and unchangeable. This distinction is not just academic. This understanding provides a great deal of explanation for the exasperation many who struggle with sexual addictive tendencies experience. Furthermore, it offers hope that things can change for the better. First, what understanding does brain plasticity provide? Your brain is your primary sexual organ. God created our brains, and it is magnificent and wonderfully complex. Ed Vitagliano, in his 2010 article Bonded in the Brain, explains, our brain works by electrical impulses that flow through its basic cell, the neuron. These neurons communicate with each other through synapses. Each functions similarly to a computer cable, bridging the gaps between the cells. But even these cables do not connect to the neurons themselves. Neurochemicals complete the job of carrying information between the cells. The existence of these pathways means the brain can be changed and molded almost like a muscle. As patterns of behavior develop over time, the synapses regulating these particular behaviors become stronger. Likewise, the synapses governing infrequent activity weaken. Sex is one of those behaviors that is subject to patterns, and this is why sexual habits seem to quickly find a pathway to which to proceed, giving those actions the sensation of going downhill or with little resistance. Those synapses have been strengthened by repeated activity. The activity of one neurochemical, dopamine, is powerfully related to human sexuality. Dopamine is a chemical that produces good feelings in the brain. The official term for what dopamine does is a reward signal. That is, when we do something exciting, dopamine rewards us by flooding our brains and making the brain cells produce a feeling of excitement or of well-being. The pleasure center of our midbrain that releases dopamine is stimulated by all manner of rewards. A tall glass of lemonade on a hot summer day, or an A on a hard-earned school assignment. Awards for jobs well done, satisfying relationships, or even a thumbs up I like on your Instagram feed. All of these are powerful brain programming experiences. Repetition will form brain pathways. Hot days will seek lemonade fixes, and well-received Instagram photos will inspire more photo ops. Now consider sexual stimulus in the context of dopamine. Sex is one of the strongest generators of dopamine. Sexual acts promise a great deal of physical pleasure. Like a drug on demand, we have an ever-increasing ability to infuse our brains with dopamine. Every swipe or search on our phones, for example, encourages, affirms, reinforces brain thought pathways. Dr. William Struthers, a Christian neurologist, puts it this way. Like a path is created in the woods with each successive hiker, so do the neuropaths set the course for the next time an erotic image is viewed. Over time, these neuropaths become wider as they are repeatedly traveled with each exposure to pornography. They become an automatic pathway through which interactions with women are routed. The neurocircuitry anchors this process solidly in the brain. With each lingering stare, pornography deepens the Grand Canyon-like gorge in the brain through which images of women are destined to follow. Continued exposure to pornography releases surge after surge of dopamine, giving the brain an unnatural high. The brain eventually fatigues, limiting the release of dopamine, leaving the viewer wanting more but unable to reach a level of satisfaction. Normally, when emotions, impulses, and urges surge from the midbrain, the prefrontal lobes are there to exercise executive control over them. But when this region is weakened by continual porn use, willpower is eroded, and there is nothing to stop the sense of craving for pornography. As a result, the person experienced the urge not just as a desire, but as a need. Now, where is the promised hope in this? Your brain is not fixed and incapable of changing. Sexual pathways can be rewired. With time, new God-glorifying pathways can be forged. By the sanctification of the Spirit, our delights become aligned with God's Word, and we become the man and woman of Psalm 1. Well-worn paths are formed in our brains that allow His Word to be our frequent meditation. The executive control center of our brain can be reclaimed and our willpower strengthened. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. Our spiritual and physical being mingle together and are inseparable. Thanks be to God that Jesus Christ has stepped into our physical and by it redeemed our hearts, souls, minds, and bodies.